Want my help getting a robotics automation or tech career at a Fortune 500 company or innovative startup so that you can finally level up your earnings, work on the coolest projects ever, and have practically unlimited earning potential for the rest of your career? Listen up. My robotics mentorship program is officially open. This is a 90-day career intensive where we get crystal clear on your dream robotics job, reinvent your professional brand, and fill in the technical gaps so that you can get a six-figure plus career at the hottest companies on the planet. If you're interested, go to learnrobotics.org/podcast to sign up. We'll text a bit to see if you're a fit and then get you registered if it makes sense. Again, go to learnrobotics.org/podcast. Now on to today's episode. What's going on, guys? Liz here from Learn Robotics, recording another episode back on Learn Robotics with Liz. It's been a long time coming. I've finally cleared my schedule and have enough time to be producing more content for the podcast more regularly. So you can expect to see more of these episodes being launched, hopefully multiple times per week, if not at least once a week. And today's episode, we're going to be talking about um, things that are not logical that we do anyways. And I know that if you're a technical person, you're probably super logical. You probably think in a very analytical way. And I want to reframe how you think about certain scenarios in your life because I get a lot of clients coming to me, they're high achieving professionals and they're stuck. And I would say 9 times out of 10, the reason why they're stuck is because they're unwilling to invest in themselves. For whatever reason, they think that they've paid their dues, whether it's, a university degree, a certificate, they've been in the industry for years. For whatever reason, they just feel like they can skip investing in themselves and still progress. And it's kind of a flawed thought because if just because you do something once doesn't mean like you can't keep getting better at it, you can't keep improving, and you can't, invest in ways to make yourself even better. And so I think it's kind of ironic and quite silly that people will they'll go to university, they'll spend $50,000 a year for 4 years for a total of $200,000 plus on an engineering degree so that they can end up in a job that makes 80,000 a year. Like that to me, like the irony of that and how people are so willing to go into debt over something that will make them 80 grand a year. And I'm using like average numbers here. It might be a little less, it might be a little bit more, but let's just talk middle of the road, the average person going to like engineering school, um, accredited 4-year program in some sort of discipline. And I'm speaking from experience, right? Because I did this. I was 18 years old, got into engineering school, paid for engineering school, spent 4 years, blood, sweat, and tears working in the robotics lab, getting my engineering degree. Um, there's definitely value in that process and being able to think and go through that. But from a financial standpoint, if we take a step back, spending 50 grand a year, like if you were to go to the school that I went to, spending, I think it's honestly closer to 60, but spending 50 grand a year to go to a school and let's say total $200,000 for the 4 years that you're there to get a job that pays you $80,000 a year does not make sense. Like it just financially, the math just does not work out. And you don't need to have taken, complex mathematics or statistics or, differential equations or linear algebra. You don't need to take those classes to just know like it doesn't make sense. And I think what's even sillier is people do it all day left and right. They do it every single day. They sign up for these degrees. And I'm not saying degrees are bad. I have a degree, but what I'm saying is it's crazy that people think that they can just invest once in their career. They go into debt over this thing that pays them far less than what the cost of the education or the training was to actually get that degree. And then they're unwilling to spend 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 to make another move. And it blows my mind because the program that I run and I'm speaking from my experience with the students that I work with my clients. The people that are getting results, they're investing in themselves. They're betting on themselves. And so if you're unwilling to invest in yourself to get a better result so that you can have a better career and you can actually reinvent the way you work in a technical role, then you're never going to move forward. You're just going to stay where you are. If you just keep doing the same stuff, you're going to get the same result. And so it's crazy to me that people are so unwilling to bet on themselves at a lower risk than the cost of a university degree. Um, i- just to get to that next level in their career. And what we try to do, like the students and clients that I work with in my program, I mean, we're going and figuring out what experience do they have. Like I have people coming into the program that have 15, 20 years worth of experience, and they haven't invested in themselves for 15 years. And it's like, well, no wonder why you're stuck. You haven't done anything new. You're not bringing anything new to the table. You really think that, a degree from 15, 20 years ago is going to hold you to the next level now? So it's just kind of putting that into perspective and explaining that thought. And don't get me wrong, I was an engineering student. When you're in engineering school, when you're in college, you have this mentality. You're put in an environment where you're not willing to spend money on anything because you feel broke, and I totally get that. But at some point, you have to kind of weigh your risk versus reward. And if you are a high achieving person, if you're a type A person, your best bet is betting on you. And I say that with utmost confidence because you're the only thing you can control. So if you're putting, an investment into S&P and growing your money that way, you can't control what the stock market is doing. You can't control how companies perform. But if you put money into your career, into learning highly valuable skills and actually understanding and actually being able to think and actually building out your professional network with real experts that actually know what they're doing, you are going to see a return, and that return isn't going to take you 10 years. That return, it could take you 10 months. It could take you 10 weeks. It just depends on how quickly you're able to find the right person to work with, get the right instructions, have the right plan, and execute it. And if you're the kind of person that knows that every single time you're put to the task, you absolutely crush it, then there's really no reason why you wouldn't bet on yourself and invest in a program that's going to get you to the next level. And a lot of students that I work with, I have to kind of tell them this, right? Because it's a different way of thinking. People are so willing to like sit on a sword for, student loans and going into college debt, but they're not willing to take a small percentage of that price tag, like 5% of that price tag, and take 90 days to actually reinvent the way they do things. And just to put things into perspective, we're talking robotics here. We're not talking like, writing novels. And I'm sure that as a writer, there's a lot of technicals in the way you speak and the way you pronounce things and the way you articulate your work. What I'm talking about is like the cost to get, a notebook and sit down and start writing is far less than the cost to build an automated manufacturing cell with, motors and conveyors and controllers and equipment and physical space and planning and safety. Like you're working in a multi-million dollar industry. So if you think you can get away with taking $100 or $1,000 course on controller programming languages and then just like waltz your way into the industry with minimal training on cheap stuff that you found on the internet, good luck. Like I don't know in what universe a company is just going to be like, yeah, cool, you just took this like Udemy course on PLC programming. Here's the keys to this, $10 million robotics and automation cell. Have fun. Like they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. And that's why industry training and manufacturer training, they all cost 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, depending what you're taking. And if you take all of the courses, I mean, they have like dozens of courses you could be taking. So there's another, couple $100,000 in just manufacturer training where they teach you how to use their software and how to press buttons. They're not going to teach you, how these buttons and pressing these buttons actually matter to the thing you're automating, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're working in industrial automation and you're working in robotics, the reason why you're there isn't to design ladder logic. The reason why you're there is to optimize and automate a process so that it's more efficient, so that it's safer, so that it's more productive. So at the end of the day, the company makes more money. So you are there to help the company make more money by using your brain and coming up with creative solutions. It's not about what controller model you know, whether or not you're working in ladder logic or function block. And if you want those tactical skills, sure, being able to read different languages and understand and interpret and develop with different things like that is important. Don't get me wrong, it's totally important. And I have those skills. Those are skills you pick up as you need them. You start adding tools to your toolbox as you have projects that warrant the tool, right? But at the end of the day, you're not going to be learning how to take all of that information and position yourself in the market where you are going to become a leader. Like, you will be promoted. You will have an infinite number of opportunities purely because you know what you're doing and you're not just regurgitating certificates and, you know, names that of tools that you find in a software from a manufacturer. Like, that stuff isn't important and nobody truly cares. And I can say this again from experience because I have these certifications. I've taken these industrial and manufacturer trainings. I have all of the names on my resume. Did it make a difference? Not at all. The questions are all about what can you do with this? How are you going to help this company solve whatever problems they're having, and being able to think about the problem and come up with an actual solution. It's not about memorizing ladder logic. It's not about how many 50 million certifications you have on your resume. Nobody cares about that. And if you're speaking to somebody technical that actually knows their stuff, they will agree with me on this. You could have a hundred certificates on your resume. If you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to get hired. And so what my program does is help you navigate this because there are different things out there. You could do anything. You can do anything, you can do nothing. But if you are going to do something, my program is going to save you the hassle of going down a road that you don't need to necessarily go down. And I was working with a client last night and we were going through some, command line scripts and getting things organized and getting things running, and he had no experience really working in the terminal, so it was kind of like just teaching him how to actually get things set up so he could get the next step in his project. And turns out, like, his main focus has nothing to do with scripting. It has nothing to do with using the terminal. So for me to sit down and tell him to like memorize all these terminal commands so that he can be a master scripter and do all of that would not be beneficial to him at all. There's lots of things you can spend your time doing, but what we try to do together is we work through what are your experiences? What do you already know? How many years of experience do you have? Where do you want to get? When do you want to get there? Is that goal even realistic? Because truthfully, if you're coming to me and you've just graduated high school and you want to be, working on AI robots, you're not going to get there in 90 days. Anybody that tells you you can is lying. You do have to take some time to get the experience. But if you're somebody that has, 5 years of experience, a bachelor's degree in some sort of engineering or related field, and you've been working in the industry doing, automation work, maybe more on the project management or the commissioning side of things, and you want to go more industrial robotics or leadership, those things can be totally done in 90 days for sure. If you're willing to put in the work, those things can be done. And what I'd like to do at this point in time, I know this has been more of a tough love kind of a rant. It's just so funny to me that people are so cool with taking out $200,000 worth of loans over 4 years, spending 4 years of their life doing something that is going to get them to an $80,000 salary when they're not willing to spend, ten or $20,000 to get their career, above six figures with a, ten or $20,000 sign on bonus in 90 days. Like, that to me is just blows my mind. But what I want to do is share with you a little bit more about my program. And if you think it's a good fit, what I'd like you to do is apply. And I'm going to give you some instructions on how you can raise your hand and say, "Hey, like I'd love Liz to work with me. I want some help." So this is what we do. We're going to help you learn about robots. Obviously, you need some technical skills. We're going to help you advance your career. You're going to also, as a result of this program, you're going to transform your life. You're going to become a better person. You're going to have support and accountability. You're going to think about things differently, right? Because button pressing does not equate a six-figure salary. I don't care what anybody says. Like if you just know how to navigate a software, that's not a six-figure plus career. Being able to use that software appropriately and come up with innovative solutions and be able to be articulate, that's what gets you to the next level, and I can help you get there. A lot of it comes down to experience and confidence. So, this is an exclusive opportunity to work directly with me on all things career and robotics to reinvent your life in the way you position yourself as an innovator in the market. My program does have a few spots left. We have a special enrollment price going on right now. So if you do apply and I reach out to you via text, just let me know that you heard me on the podcast and I'll make sure that we get you in for that enrollment price. And it's really up to you. You can continue being stuck or you can reach out and get some help. And at the very least, we text back and forth and I say, you know what, like it's probably not the right fit for you, but let me point you in this other direction so that you can keep making progress. And if it's not working with me, then getting help from somebody is better than doing nothing. So what I'd like to do is invite you to join my robotics mentorship program. You can go to learnrobotics.org/podcast, read through the little bit of information that I put on that page, put your name and your info in to that form. And when you hit submit, I'm going to be getting a notification and I'll just text you. I'm going to send you a message and we're going to connect. This is a career advancement program. You're working with real people. You're working with me. You're working with my level of expertise to get you to the next level. And you're going to be able to leverage a lot of your previous experience to get to the next level. You don't have to go back to school. You don't have to go sign up for 75 million more certifications. This is getting you to the next level of what you want for your career, both what you want to be working on, what kind of money you want to be making, what kind of lifestyle you want to have. And these are things that you can just rinse and repeat for the rest of your career. So go to learnrobotics.org/podcast, fill out the form, apply. I'll reach out to you directly. We'll chat a little bit, make sure you are in the right place. And if you are a good fit, I will let you know and we can get you registered into the program. So I hope this podcast was insightful for you. I am becoming more direct with people because I think there's not enough people out there just giving information the way it needs to be presented. A lot of people just dance around the subject. And I think this is just valuable information. If I had learned what I'm telling you right now 10 years ago, I probably would have been so much farther, so much faster in my career. I would have saved at least 5 years of bad advice. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in a future podcast about bad advice and how to kind of navigate your way around that. But take me up on this offer. If you're interested, go to learnrobotics.org/podcast. I'm here to help you. I've done this with myself. I've done this with my clients. It works. And if you really want to meet somebody that actually knows their stuff in robotics across a wide variety of disciplines in automation, robotics, research, manufacturing, and can give you direct, tangible advice, I'm the person you're going to want to work with. Learnrobotics.org/podcast, and I look forward to meeting you soon.